Reason 2. Unique positioning between pop, R&B, and K-pop in US radio and streaming. Jungkook's position in the US music market is not confined to a singular genre or cultural identity. While his foundation is rooted in K-pop, his solo trajectory demonstrates a deliberate and effective alignment with Western music categories, particularly pop and R&B. This hybrid positioning gives him a strategic edge. He avoids being boxed into one market while maximizing exposure across genre-diverse audiences. Unlike many international acts that struggle to define their sound for the American market, Jungkook seamlessly fits into multiple genre frameworks, allowing for greater playlisting, broader radio play, and more comprehensive audience capture across key US music channels. Jungkook's solo music, especially tracks like 7, 3D, and Standing Next to You, demonstrates a clear understanding of the sonic palette that dominates US pop and R&B. These songs reflect production techniques and melodic structures that are already familiar to the American ear. 7 features a pop dance beat with a summery, radio-ready appeal. 3D leans heavily into I2K R&B influences, channeling sounds reminiscent of early 2000s American radio. Standing Next to You adds a retro-funk layer that mirrors current nostalgic trends favored by Gen Z and millennials. This genre alignment enables Jungkook to be competitive in categories traditionally dominated by US-based artists. His sound doesn't rely on novelty as a K-pop act. Instead, it comfortably fits within existing American genre categories. This allows radio programmers, DSP editors, and US media outlets to treat his releases not as foreign imports, but as mainstream pop entries. Jungkook has been a consistent presence in editorial playlists that define the mainstream pop and R&B soundscape in the US. Spotify, for instance, featured his singles in today's top hits, Pop Rising, New Music Friday USA, and Viva Latino via collaborations. Apple Music included his tracks in A-list pop, R&B now, and new in pop. These placements are not token representations. In many instances, Jungkook's songs are positioned at the top of the playlist, which maximizes their stream potential. Placement at or near the top is a strategic signal. It indicates editorial confidence that the song aligns with current listening trends and user behavior. In short, DSPs are not treating Jungkook as a niche figure or simply riding BTS's momentum. They are betting on his music performing well with general US audiences. Moreover, cross-genre playlisting is a unique advantage. 3D, for example, appears in both pop and R&B contexts. This dual inclusion is rare and reflects Jungkook's capacity to blend genre boundaries in ways that attract multiple listener groups, something few non-Western artists have achieved at scale in the US. Radio remains a critical avenue for mainstream music exposure in the US, especially among casual listeners and older demographics. Jungkook's solo releases have received measurable airplay on top 40 stations, rhythmic, contemporary, and adult pop formats. 7 debuted on Mediabase's Top 40 radio chart and climbed over time, backed by consistent listener demand and station rotation. This is significant because US radio airplay typically favors domestic artists and long-established names. For a non-native English speaker with limited solo history in the American market, Jungkook's radio penetration is an outlier. Yet the results show his tracks are not only being added to rotation, but are generating call-in requests and favorable feedback, which are key metrics for program directors deciding future rotations. In addition, his songs are featured on SiriusXM's major stations like Hits 1 and The Pulse. These satellite channels are widely consumed in cars and smart speakers across the US, giving Jungkook exposure beyond urban or coastal areas and into suburban and rural listening zones. This diffusion plays a role in establishing him as a US mainstream figure, not just a digital phenomenon. In the US market, the label K-pop often functions as both a promotional asset and a boundary. While it opens access to a loyal fandom base, it can also isolate artists from wider genre ecosystems. Jungkook's approach counters this problem by embedding his releases directly within Western genre formats. Collaborations with American producers Andrew Watt Blood Pop, artists Latto, Jack Harlow, and stylists align his output with US cultural standards. US music publications frequently classify his solo work as pop, R&B, or dance pop, not K-pop, when reviewing or charting his songs. For example, Billboard has listed 7 and Standing Next to You under its mainstream Top 40 and R&B hip-hop airplay charts. This dual categorization allows Jungkook to benefit from K-pop's global fan infrastructure while participating in the American music industry's domestic economy. In effect, he is not relying on genre novelty, but on genre fluency. His sound does not demand explanation to the average US listener. It is instantly familiar, even if the artist's background is not. That accessibility significantly lowers the barrier to entry in the American mainstream. One of the reasons Jungkook's genre positioning is effective is due to the quality and type of collaborators he engages with. Featuring American artists like Latto and Jack Harlow not only boosts discoverability, but also allows his songs to enter the US Artist Network, where cross-promotion and playlist algorithms are influenced by featured artists. Latto's appearance on 7 gave the track R&B hip-hop credentials, making it suitable for rhythmic and urban playlists in addition to pop ones. Jack Harlow's feature on 3D opened the song to his fanbase and allowed for a sonic fusion that fit naturally within American streaming and radio formats. These features are not arbitrary, they are part of a targeted approach to genre legitimacy in the US market. Collaborators bring with them cultural capital in specific genre communities, which Jungkook effectively absorbs and mirrors in his vocal delivery, stylistic choices, and lyrical themes. Jungkook's vocal tone and performance style are particularly compatible with American R&B and pop conventions. He uses English fluently in many solo releases with a clear diction and phrasing style that avoids sounding overly foreign to US listeners. While his accent is occasionally detectable, it does not interfere with lyric comprehension, something that radio stations and DSPs weigh heavily when selecting tracks for rotation. More importantly, his singing technique, breathy falsettos, vocal runs, controlled vibrato, is aligned with the stylistic signatures of artists like Justin Bieber, The Weeknd, and Shawn Mendes. This technical affinity makes him not just recognizable, but sonically acceptable in playlists that contain such artists. His voice fits comfortably into the sonic branding of US pop and R&B formats. Jungkook's strategic use of language and vocal tone enables his music to feel native to American listeners without losing his own artistic identity. This subtle adaptability is a critical factor in breaking down cultural barriers in the US market. American music audiences gravitate toward themes that are emotionally accessible, straightforward, and universally relatable. Jungkook's solo lyrics focus on love, longing, attraction, and personal growth topics that are familiar and widely embraced in American pop. His lyrics are crafted to avoid cultural or linguistic specificity, which broadens their appeal. In addition, the structure of his songs mirrors Western songwriting conventions: verse, chorus patterns, bridge usage, and hook repetition. These familiar structures help American listeners immediately feel at ease with his music. Unlike some international acts that require contextual framing, Jungkook's songs function autonomously without needing translation or explanation. This thematic and structural alignment contributes to his seamless integration into US genre contexts. His songs can be inserted into a playlist between two American artists and feel musically cohesive, an important criterion for inclusion in DJ sets, algorithmic rotations, and radio lineups. Genre positioning is not only determined by artists and their music, it's also shaped by the decisions of industry gatekeepers such as radio programmers, playlist editors, and music supervisors. In Jungkook's case, the receptivity from these key players has been notably high. His consistent presence in high-value playlists, his invitations to perform on US talk shows and award stages, and the inclusion of his music in branded soundtracks all suggest institutional support. Music industry gatekeepers are treating him not as a novelty or guest, but as a peer to American artists, a rare dynamic for an international act. Moreover, Jungkook's music is often featured in US retail playlists, sports arenas, and influencer content. These inclusions reflect not only audience demand, but also genre compatibility. His sound doesn't disrupt the mood of a pop rotation, it enhances it. Reason 1. Dominating cross. Platform metrics across US digital ecosystems. Jungkook's rise in the US entertainment landscape is not merely a product of fandom enthusiasm or cultural crossover appeal. It is fundamentally driven by his measurable dominance across major US digital platforms. From YouTube and TikTok to Spotify and Apple Music, the numbers don't lie. His performance across these systems reveals a pattern of consistent growth, unmatched velocity in audience engagement, and a rare level of virality typically reserved for top-tier American artists. This is not simply about visibility. It is about statistically quantifiable leadership across multiple digital metrics that matter most in the US music industry. On Spotify, the world's most influential music streaming platform with a major user base in the US, Jungkook has consistently shattered benchmarks that were previously dominated by American and Western artists. His solo releases such as 7, Standing Next to You, and 3D were not only among the most streamed songs globally, but they also maintained extended periods in the top 10 of the US Spotify charts, an uncommon feat for non-English speaking or international solo acts. His debut solo track 7 reached over 1 billion streams faster than many global hits, including those by artists like The Weeknd or Dua Lipa. This kind of performance is not just an anomaly, it reflects an integrated acceptance by the US user base. Furthermore, Jungkook's ability to retain high daily streams long after initial release defies the drop-off curves commonly seen with even the biggest viral American hits. Spotify's data-driven environment rewards organic traction, user saves, playlist ads, and repeat listening patterns. In each of these categories, Jungkook consistently registers high marks in the US territory. His playlist placements in major editorial curations like Today's Top Hits, Pop Rising, and Hot Hits USA further reinforce his central role in the US streaming narrative. On YouTube, Jungkook's solo music videos exhibit not only explosive first-day views, but also unusually strong retention over time. Unlike many artists, whose viewership peaks in the first 48 hours and plateaus quickly, Jungkook's content maintains high levels of interest weeks after release. For example, 7 and 3D continue to generate millions of views daily, long after their debuts. The YouTube US trending charts which are algorithmically based on velocity, engagement, and watch time, have frequently featured Jungkook. These trends are not only driven by fans, but also picked up by the broader user base, as evidenced by his inclusion in the top music videos list in the US across multiple release cycles. Additionally, YouTube Shorts has become a secondary but powerful platform, where Jungkook's content, both official and fan-generated, performs exceptionally well. His presence in bite-sized, highly shareable vertical video formats signals his adaptability to new forms of digital media, reinforcing his dominance across content types. Jungkook's success on TikTok is more than a product of coordinated trends. His songs organically lend themselves to short-form video formats, be it through dance challenges, lip-syncing trends, or lifestyle content, and frequently climb the TikTok viral and Billboard TikTok trending charts in the US. American creators, including top-tier influencers with millions of followers, regularly use Jungkook's music without prompt. This indicates a cultural permeation that transcends his original fanbase. Viral audio clips of "Seven," "Standing Next to You," and even lesser-known performances from concerts have circulated widely, attracting creators outside of the K-pop or fandom ecosystem. More importantly, TikTok's US algorithm heavily favors content that engages general audiences rather than fan-specific circles. Jungkook's music consistently performs well under these algorithmic conditions, placing him in the same category of virality usually enjoyed by artists like Olivia Rodrigo or Post Malone. His visuals, music hooks, and choreography clips all align perfectly with TikTok's engagement model, offering a key strategic advantage in the US digital space. While Spotify and YouTube often receive the most attention, Jungkook's reach also extends to Apple Music and Amazon Music platforms that are particularly strong in the US market. His tracks have consistently charted on Apple Music's Top 100 USA chart, a metric dominated by American artists and heavily reliant on repeat plays and listener engagement rather than casual clicks. Apple Music's editorial features, including their highly competitive New Music Daily and Today's Hits, have repeatedly highlighted Jungkook as a central figure. His sustained presence in these placements reinforces that his music is not only trending, but also being consumed repeatedly by a wide demographic in the United States. Amazon Music, which has seen growth especially among older US consumers and Echo device users, has also supported Jungkook's work through curated playlists and banner placements, signaling a recognition of his appeal beyond the core K-pop demographic. This broader digital reach makes his dominance across platforms not only visible, but also commercially valuable. On Instagram, Jungkook's influence is evident through metrics like saves, shares, and comments, not merely likes. Posts featuring or tagging him often generate disproportionately high engagement relative to similar posts for American artists, indicating elevated interest and conversion power. Even American media outlets that include Jungkook in reels, thumbnails, or carousels see spikes in viewership and interaction. On X, formerly Twitter, real-time engagement around Jungkook often trends globally and in the US upon every appearance, release, or even unprompted mention. Notably, these trends are often not pre-arranged fan campaigns but rather genuine reactions to his activities. The hashtags, quote tweets, and meme propagation that follow a Jungkook moment display patterns of engagement, typically reserved for viral phenomena in American pop culture. He is also regularly included in Brandwatch and Talkwalker analytics as one of the most mentioned artists across US media and user interactions, proving that his name itself serves as an engine for digital momentum. What makes Jungkook unique is the synergy across platforms. A TikTok trend using his song often translates to an increase in Spotify streams, which in turn boosts YouTube engagement, which then gets shared on Instagram and X, generating more traction and drawing attention from mainstream media outlets. This cross-platform loop is a rare phenomenon even among high-performing US artists. Most artists dominate one or two digital spaces at a time. Jungkook, however, has consistently achieved top-tier performance on 5 or more platforms simultaneously, creating a digital flywheel effect that keeps his content in motion across US audiences. This inter-platform acceleration contributes to his extended chart longevity, commercial performance, and social visibility. Importantly, data shows that Jungkook's US listeners are not confined to a narrow demographic. Spotify Wrapped statistics, Google Trends, and YouTube Analytics reveal that his reach spans Gen Z to millennials, with notable interest even among Gen X. This indicates that his appeal is not dependent on one age group or cultural niche, allowing for more stable digital performance over time. His streaming numbers in key US states like California, Texas, New York, and Florida regions with diverse musical tastes and high competition further demonstrate his success in penetrating mainstream US music consumption patterns. These markets also serve as indicators of commercial potential, including concert ticket demand, merchandise sales, and brand deal leverage. US media platforms such as Billboard, Rolling Stone, Forbes, and Variety have acknowledged Jungkook's digital performance not as a side effect of BTS's fame, but as an individual achievement in its own right. Chart analysts frequently highlight his debut placements, retention rates, and stream velocity as on par or even superior to leading American pop stars. Billboard Hot 100 chart placements, in particular, reflect domestic traction, as they include streaming, radio play, and sales data weighted for the US market. Jungkook's entries and durations on the Hot 100, especially with songs predominantly in English, signifies successful localization without losing his international identity. This recognition from the US industry, backed by verified metrics and sustained patterns, has positioned him not only as a prominent Korean soloist, but as a digital leader in the broader US pop ecosystem.